As cool and as simple as these motorized coloring bots are, you do need to use tools that are either sharp or can get very hot in order to construct it. So I do recommend that you get some adult supervision and some adult assistance in order to construct your bot. In addition to some adult supervision and assistance, you're going to need a few things in order to make your motorized coloring bot. The first thing I would find would be some sort of plastic container or cup. I chose a plastic peanut butter container and I cut it in half. I can make 2 bots out of 1 peanut butter jar. You're also going to need some markers and some tools you will need. You'll need a soldering iron and solder. Careful, soldering irons get very hot. You'll also need a hot glue gun, also gets very hot. And some needle nose pliers could be helpful as well. You'll also need a 9-volt battery. You'll need a 9-volt battery connector and a toy motor. Now I bought both of these things on Amazon. They're both just about $1. And then the last thing you're gonna need to find is some sort of weight. I chose a bolt, and this bolt I will connect to my motor to get that wobble. All right, friends? Well, hey, let's get building our motorized coloring bots. Before I show you what I did to make my motorized coloring bot, I just want to tell you that you don't have to do exactly what I did. There are a million different ways you can construct your bot, and you can use all kinds of different materials. You don't have to use a soldering iron. You don't necessarily have to use a glue gun. You don't need a drill, and you don't need a knife in order to cut through things. So you can make it as simple or as complicated as you would like. So hey, you do you, and let me show you how to make this thing. To start building your motorized coloring bot, you're first going to have to find a container to use for your bot's body. Because on the bot's body, that's where you're going to connect the motor and the battery and the markers. So I chose a plastic peanut butter container because, well, it's nice and sturdy, yet it's heavy and it's light at the same time. And I found it to be the perfect vehicle for the bot's body. For the next step, you're gonna have to have some adult help with this, especially if you're using kind of a thicker plastic container. So I took a hacksaw and, well, I cut my peanut butter jar in half. And well, now I can make 2 bots out of 1 container. For the next step in constructing your motorized coloring bot, you're going to need to use either a drill and a drill bit, or you could use your soldering iron as well, and you're going to have to make a hole into the top of the container, just like this, because this is where the motor is going to go, and you got to make sure that the axle of the motor sticks through to the inside of your container, just like that. For the next step in constructing your motorized coloring bot, you're going to want to secure your motor and your battery to the top of your container with using your hot glue gun. So when you put your motor in, make sure the axle of the motor is sticking through to the inside of your container. For the next step in constructing your bot, you're going to connect your 9-volt battery connector to the metal tabs on your motor right there. Now, these metal tabs can be a little bit flimsy, so I do recommend that you use a soldering iron and solder to connect them because it will make the electrical connection much more secure. Now, word to the wise, a soldering iron gets super duper hot. Do not touch the tip of it when it's plugged in. It will burn you, all right? So please, adult supervision and adult assistance. Now, after you've secured your battery connector to your motor, you're gonna wanna just do a little check to make sure everything's working properly. So just take the connector and you could basically just touch it to your battery, and if you hear that motor humming, you're all good. For the next step in completing your motorized coloring bot, you're going to want to find some sort of a bolt. All right, you want to find something that's heavier on one end than it is on the other end. And then you're going to take that bolt and you want to secure it to the axle that's on the inside of the body of your bot. To secure the bolt to the axle inside of the body of your bot, I found that needle nose pliers work great for this. So I'm going to grab the heavy end of my bolt, and then I'm going to put a little squirt of hot glue on the other end of my bolt. And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to stick it to my axle. Now you might have to wait a few moments for that glue to solidify before you can let go. But once it feels like it's kind of cooled off a little bit and it's secure, go ahead and let go of it with your needle nose pliers. And you can reach in there with your hand and kind of make sure it's positioned well. And if you need to put a little more glue in there, go ahead and do that. So after you secure that bolt to the axle of the motor inside the body of your bot, hey, just give it a little test. Give it a little test to make sure it's working right. And there you can see it's spinning. And the reason why you do that, the reason why you put that bolt in there is because it creates vibration. And without that vibration, your bot is not going to move. So hey, the bolt makes your bot a lot more fun. For the last step in constructing your motorized coloring bot, well, go ahead and pick 4 colors that you really like. And then you're going to use your hot glue gun to secure those markers to the body of your bot. Well, we have now completed our motorized coloring bots. Don't worry if your markers aren't quite level. I have found that if you put them on a little bit wonky, that it gives a little more character to your bot. So, hey, let's go see what these motorized coloring bots can do. Come on, let's do it. Now that the bots are complete, go ahead and you can take off the marker caps, go ahead and connect your battery and set it down on a nice large piece of paper, and hey, let them go.